Senator Di Natale.
Thank you, Mr President. Mr President, my question is for the Minister representing the Minister for Home Affairs, Minister Ludwig. Minister, in light of the recent actions by the Indonesian police and military in West Papua in response to the peaceful gathering at the Papuan National Congress, can you tell the Senate what support the Australian government provides to the Indonesian police force, including the counter-terrorism squad known as Detachment 88, along with the nature of such support and the date at which that support commenced?
The Minister representing the Minister for Home Affairs, Senator Ludwig.
Thank you, Mr President. I thank Senator Di Natale for his question. The Australian government support to the Indonesian National Police consists of counter-terrorism training and capacity-building initiatives supported by the AFP. The AFP does provide capacity building to enhance the INP. That would also include, Senator, Detachment 88 to build capability, including counter-terrorism. This capacity building includes the provision of support to a range of INP initiatives implemented by the Jakarta Regional Cooperation Team and the AFP Counter-Terrorism Senior Police Advisor in Jakarta. Initiatives include investigation, support and forensic assistance, including post-bomb blast analysis. The AFP has also supported the INP in establishing and developing forensic bomb data centres, the introduction of case management and intelligence system databases, and the provision of equipment and support. In addition, in terms of when that support commenced, I'll take that on notice and see what the Home Affairs Minister can add.
Senator Di Natale.
Thank you, Mr President. My supplementary question is, will the government be reconsidering providing support to the Indonesian police force and the counter-terrorism squad known as Detachment 88, based on its involvement in human rights abuses in West Papua, such as those that occurred at the recent 3rd Papuan National Congress?
The Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. Australia shares a strong and productive relationship with Indonesia, and it has established a joint framework to address people smuggling, and more broadly, AFP support also extends to the provision of training to the INP, including Detachment 88 officers. This is provided through the Jakarta Centre for Law Enforcement Cooperation and incorporates a good governance, rule of law, judicial process, human rights and accountability. The principles of human rights are embedded in all of the JCLEC programs, and police accountability is incorporated into a scenario-based training. But that part of the question I will take on notice from Home Affairs Minister.
Senator Di Natale.
Thank you, Mr President. I have a further supplementary question. It's been revealed today that Indonesian police are on the payroll of the operators of the Freeport Grasberg gold and copper mine in West Papua. Given the evidence of such naked corruption and the threat of imminent violence against predominantly West Papuan workers exercising a legitimate right to take industrial action, will this Labor government undertake to suspend cooperation with the Indonesian police forces until this corruption and human rights abuses cease?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr President, and I thank Senator Di Natale for his second supplementary question. I won't take the question as given. I will ask that the Home Affairs Minister, Mr Brendan O'Connor, provide additional information or take that part of the question on notice which relates to the specific issue, and see what further information he can provide.
Senator Di Natale.
Thank you, Mr Deputy President. I ask that General Business Notice of Motion number 502, standing in my name, for today, relating to West Papua and the 3rd Papuan National Congress, be taken as a formal motion.
Is there any objection to that motion being taken as formal? There being none, Senator Di Natale.
Thank you, Mr Deputy President. I move the motion standing in my name.
The question, Senator Ludwig.
Thank you. Just seek leave to make a short statement.
Is leave granted? Leave is granted for 2 minutes, Senator Ludwig.
Thank you, and I thank the Senate. Parliamentary motions are, of course, I think the Chamber is familiar with what I say about this, is not the best mechanism to deal with complex foreign policy matters. Australia regularly engages with Indonesia about developments in the Papuan provinces. The Indonesian government has expressed its concern over developments in Japura and restates its commitment to strengthen implementation of special autonomy in the Papuan provinces. And Australia does welcome President Yudhoyono's statement that any abuses by security forces are to be investigated and punished. The government follows closely developments in Papua. Australia officials regularly visit the provinces to better understand the situation there. Under the Lombok Treaty, Australia is committed to respect Indonesian sovereignty and territorial integrity.
The question is that the motion move. Senator Di Natale.
Mr Deputy President, I seek leave to make a short statement.
Is leave granted? Leave is granted for 2 minutes, Senator Di Natale.
Thank you. This motion relates to the 3rd Papuan National Congress in Jayapura in West Papua. Now, this was a congress of the West Papuan people, 3,000 or so people, perhaps more, gathered peacefully in an attempt to discuss their future, a future that has been denied to them by the Indonesian government. This is something that we should be very clear about. There are some important lessons here to learn from the experience of Australia in terms of the way it reacted to the situation in East Timor. And if we're to learn anything from history, we need to know that it is our duty, our obligation as good neighbours to the Indonesian people, that when human rights abuses are committed, that we must take a very strong, a principled and a very direct stand against those abuses. Now, this motion does nothing more than suggest that the violent crackdown that occurred in West Papua, a violent crackdown that—
Order, Senator Di Natale. Senator Bob Brown, a point of order.
I'm very close to Senator Di Natale, but there's so much noise in here, and it's a very important issue. I think he should be heard.
Thank you, Senator Brown.
Silence.
Could I remind senators to be orderly and be quiet as Senator Di Natale is addressing the chamber. Senator Di Natale, you have 57 seconds left.
This motion does nothing more than condemn what I hope all Australians would condemn, and that is the violent crackdown on innocent, peaceful people gathering to discuss and determine their own future. A crackdown that resulted in the deaths of 7 people, violence that affected countless others, and a number of arrests. We now have a number of Papuan leaders imprisoned for doing nothing more than expressing their right to determine their own future. We ask that the Australian government not be complicit in these abuses. We ask that the Australian government cease and desist in terms of its support for the Indonesian police and the Indonesian military. And we say that as part of that process and as part of being a good neighbour, we respect human rights and we show some leadership on this very important issue.
The question is that the motion moved by Senator Di Natale be agreed to. Those of that opinion say aye. Those against say no. I think the noes have it. Division required. Ring the bells for 1 minute. Lock the doors. The question is that the motion moved by Senator Di Natale be agreed to. The ayes will pass to the right of the chair, the noes to the left. I appoint Senator Siewert, teller for the ayes, and Senator Kroger, teller for the noes. Senator Marshall, can I ask you to move back into your seat again? Thank you. Order. There being 11 ayes and 35 noes, the matter is resolved in the negative.